All right, we're back, and we're going to read another segment. This is the second segment today, reading Boston accent. And if you're picking this up in the middle for some crazy reason, this is mature subject matter. Go back and start at the beginning, because we're in the middle of the book, almost. All right, let's continue. Boston accent. Sometime soon after the Harvey's bombing, I was home kicked back on my day off when there was a knock at my door. I opened the door to find a guy wearing a suit holding up a badge, identifying himself as an FBI agent. He asked me if I lived there, and if I had seen a specific car in the area on or about the day of Harvey's bombing. I told him I could not remember such a car in the neighborhood. He pressed me to be sure I hadn't seen it, and then moved on to the next house. Not long after that, there was an arrest of a landscaper from the Bay Area. He apparently had lost close to $1 million at Harvey's and felt that extortion was the best way to get it back. He was convicted and sentenced to life in prison. He has since died behind bars. With Jared off to prison, there was a lot of talk at work about how crazy he was. But what many people didn't know, that Sven was a time bomb also. Their situations were different, but Sven had his issues that were fueled by drinking. One morning, we were leaving the casino after hanging around drinking for several hours. We were both very drunk as we cut through the casino's back parking lot. As we passed a parked tour bus, Sven stopped to mess with the door and somehow got it open. He climbed on the bus and sat down in the driver's seat and began looking for the keys. I climbed on and sat in the front seat. I wasn't really concerned that he would actually get it started. It was just a goof for me. Sven realized there were no keys and began to push and pull on all the controls, while I just sat there and laughed at him. All of a sudden, we hear a voice from the back of the bus say, "Get off the bus." We both turned to see the driver, who had been asleep on the back bench. Sven is a really big guy and scary looking, drunk or sober. He stands up and starts to walk to the back of the bus while saying, "Make me." The driver is scared shit and backs away saying, "Please, just get off the bus." I grab Sven and tell him, "Let's go before someone calls the cops." Sven acts like he really wants a piece of the driver. When I tell him I'm leaving, he follows me off the bus and we quickly disappear. That was the last time I was able to stop him from doing something stupid. Sven transferred out of the CC and into security, where they started him on day shift. One afternoon, Sven finished his shift and hung out at the bar drinking for a few hours. As he was leaving through the back parking lot, he spotted the Club Tahoe's catering truck backed up to the loading dock. The truck was used to sell food and banquet supplies to a casino-owned waterfront property. The property had once been owned by the owner of Club Tahoe, who had passed away in the 70s. Now it was used to house some of the biggest celebrities while they were in town to play Club Tahoe showroom. I had been out at the property to set up and tear down functions a couple of times. It was like a museum with pictures of the club's owner posing with celebrities during the 50s and 60s. As Sven walks past the catering truck, he notices that it's running. He jumps in and drives off, deciding to take it where he is currently living, in a motel on the California side of the lake with another casino employee. Sven parks the stolen truck right in front of his rented room, and within 5 minutes, the police show up and arrest him. He was charged with interstate transportation of a stolen vehicle for driving it from Nevada into California, and the casino fired him. He did no jail time and was working security at another casino within a month. Sven attended court-ordered Alcoholics Anonymous and has not had a drink since the day he stole the truck. The name of the motel Sven was living at was the Copacabana, and I can't hear that song without having a visual of Sven parking that stolen food truck outside his room. Oh, that's a horrible song regardless. Okay. A Monday night in December, and I'm on break at work catching some of the football game. It was the Pats and the Dolphins, for you trivia buffs out there. Howard Cosell is one of the commentators, and he suddenly makes an announcement that John Lennon has been assassinated. The break room was full to capacity with employees from several different departments, and people started to cry. I felt like I had been kicked in the stomach. Why him, I thought. With all the fucking assholes in the world, why did someone have to take a good one? I had to leave to be alone with my thoughts and emotions as I quickly left the room. This horrible day in history brings up that age-old question again. Do you remember where you were? It's a few days before Christmas, and I'm flying home to Massachusetts for the holiday. It will be my first return to Pineyville since leaving 14 months earlier, and I hope to see my daughter for the first time. Jake meets me at the airport and gives me a ride to my parents' house. It's good to see everyone, and they make me feel welcome. Even Ralph seems to have a better attitude towards me, with me having been out of the house for over a year. One of the first things I do is call Diana to see if I can see the baby. She tells me she is heading over to her mother's house, and she'll pick me up on the way. My mother offers to take me Christmas shopping as I have arrived with no gifts. I pick out a large doll for Alex that would turn out to be taller than she is. I spend Christmas morning and afternoon with my family, and after dinner, Diana stops by with Alex so my mother can see her granddaughter for the first time. The only request Diana has is that we don't refer to ourselves as Alex's daddy or Alex's grandma. Up to this point, we have not been in the picture, and Diana does not want Alex to be confused. After a nice visit to my parents, I ride with Alex and Diana to the new house to spend time with her family. They are all very nice to me. It feels like I have never left. I stay long enough to tuck Alex in for the night, and then Diana gives me a ride back to my parents. It will be several months before I see Diana and my daughter again. I picked up another bad habit after a year of being conservative with my hard-earned money. I started gambling after work. It was out of boredom for the most part. I didn't have any delusions about winning large amounts of money. I could only sit at the bar so long, and rather than go home, I would sit down at a blackjack table. What I quickly discovered was gambling was a great way to meet women. I only sat at tables with attractive women dealers and would hit on them. The first dealer I met and fell for was Fawn. She was a tall blonde, absolutely beautiful, and we became friends across the table, but never saw each other outside the casino. After striking out with Fawn, I met a dealer named Carol, and we started seeing each other outside of work within a week of meeting. Across a blackjack table. Carol was a natural redhead of average height with a great sense of humor. She thought I was the funniest guy in the world, and I would get her laughing so hard while she was dealing cards that the pit bosses would get pissed. Try saying that 5 times fast. Pit bosses would get pissed. Okay. Carol was 10 years older than me, with 2 kids ages 12 and 15. I was closer in age to her 15-year-old daughter than her. Carol had a husband that worked at Club Tahoe as a maintenance supervisor who was 15 years older than her. Carol agreed to meet me at the bar one night when she had finished her shift, but it was a brief meeting to agree to see each other outside of work. She did not want anyone that knew her husband to see us together, and that was the last time we spoke at the casino. I gave Carol my phone number and address, and we made plans to go to the beach on the following day. Carol showed up at my house in the morning and told me she knew of a private strip of beach not far from my house. We drove less than 5 minutes down a dead-end street at the back of my neighborhood and walked down a well-used trail that came out on the lake. It was not yet 10 a.m. in the morning on a weekday in April, and there was no one on the beach. We sat side by side in a blanket that Carol had brought, talked, and got to know each other better. Even though it was only April, at the high altitude, the sun was hot and we could feel it beating down on us. Carol remarked that being fair-skinned, we should both put on some sunscreen, and I agreed. After retrieving the lotion from her bag, Carol, who was wearing a 2-piece bikini that barely covered her, asked if I would mind if she took her top off. I said, I don't have a problem with that. Do you mind if I take off my shorts? She said that was fine with her as well. It's our first date, and Carol is topless, and I'm naked on a public beach in broad daylight. Carol goes to hand me the lotion and asks if I would like her to put it on me. Once again, I have no problem with that, and Carol goes out of her way to show me that she has no problem with my nudity by applying the lotion to every square inch of my body. She even gives special attention to a certain area because you don't want to get a burn down here. The application of lotion turns into a happy ending, and Carol is delighted that she can perform this simple favor for me. As I apply lotion to Carol, a woman her age lays out a blanket not far from us. At first, she seemed as if she was trying not to stare, but now she's openly grinning at us. It was at this moment that I asked Carol if I could apply lotion to her very ample breasts. Carol said, "Please do," and I massaged her breasts with lotion, and I grinned back at the woman who was watching us. After applying way more lotion than was necessary to Carol's breasts, I suggested to her that she roll over on her stomach. Although I can appreciate a woman's breasts, I am not a boob man, but prefer a woman's behind. To communicate this properly to Carol, I pull her bottoms down to apply lotion to the area I felt was most important to protect. Carol gets a kick out of this, and when she rolls over on her back with her bottoms around her ankles, she just kicks them off giggling. That was the moment of our first kiss, and it was long, wet, and delicious. It was yummy. It was like a steak and cheese sub. We spent the next hour lying facing each other with our legs entwined as we kissed and caressed each other. The sun combined with the cool breeze coming off the lake felt glorious on our nude bodies. Carol's hand once again became drawn to one area on me, and she expressed her desire to take our relationship to the next level. We both glanced at the woman down the beach, who seemed to be engrossed in her book, and I said, "How would you like to see my bedroom?" Carol said, "Let's go." At my house, my roommates were home, and I made the introductions. We retreated to my room, where we spent the next 2 hours getting to know each other even better. This was the start of a relationship that would run off and on for the next 2 years. We didn't get together a lot, but when we did, it was hot. Okay, I don't have time to start this next one I can see right now. Okay, so I'm going to take a little breather. I'm going to fix myself another cup of tea, take some meds, blow my nose, and we're going to read a third segment for the day, okay? I'll be right back. We're reading Boston Accent. Boston Accent, in case you've been living in a cave, is available on Amazon.com. Ciao.